Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind Podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Friday. It's December 30th. It's 2022. It's the last podcast of 2022. It's been a fantastic season. It's been a fantastic year, not season. We've had a bunch of fantastic seasons, but it's been a fantastic year. We'll be back Monday on the 2nd. And yeah, I mean, it's been a great year. I appreciate everyone that has been listening. I appreciate everyone that is kind of hung out with us on YouTube over the last month and a half. Excited to really do this all year for 2023 and, have everyone, have the opportunity to hang out live on the show, comment, and all that fun stuff. So appreciate everyone this is year 7. And we're going to be going on year 8. So the podcast, I can't do this without everyone listening. So thank you. And today we got a 9-game NBA slate. I'm joined by TJ. I'm done rambling, TJ. What's happening? Mr. Snowed in. I was giving TJ a hard time pre-show because it's 59 in Florida and beautiful, and he's snowed in. So what's happening, TJ?
Look, I don't have too much to complain about because it's a balmy 1 degree in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan right now. We've been hitting some -20, -30 lately. So yeah, it's snowy as hell and I can't get out of my garage into the back alley right now. But other than that, life's pretty darn good. I'm honored that I'm on the last show of 2022. That feels momentous. I'm thankful.
Yeah, I haven't made the schedule for next month yet, so I don't know who's going to be on the first podcast of next year. But you get to close out the year. We get to do it on the 9-game NBA slate. That kind of juicy. This slate. I know you're going to be playing some NBA when you can't do anything else. You might as well play some DFS. So,
you're absolutely right. I've been playing PS5, DFS, and watching some shows. That's basically been my last 3 days.
Nice. All right, we have 9 games. If you have any questions and you're hanging out on YouTube, always feel free to comment in the section right there in the chat. The section. I'm tired, man. This you could tell this is the last podcast of the week because I'm tired. Dave, what's up? All right, we get started with Washington at Orlando. No total in this game. I don't know why, outside of the fact that the whole Orlando Magic team is suspended.
I don't know why he says and then remembers, oh damn, no, they don't have half their team.
Yeah, that was part of the joke, but there's no total in this game because Bradley Beal's questionable. Outside of him, Taj Gibson is questionable as well. Magic, Cole Anthony got suspended, Wendell Carter Jr. suspended, RJ Hampton, Gary Harris, and Mo Wagner. So a lot of people suspended. Jonathan Isaac, Okiki, and Suggs still out with the injuries. So yeah, a ton of guys out here for the Magic. But let's start with Washington because we always start with the visiting team. What do you like here for the Wizards?
Porzingis and Kuzma, I think, are definitely in play in the mid 8Ks. If we get Beal out, then I'd have a little bit of interest in Abdia as well as Monte Morris. But if Beal's in, I think I'm probably just going to be avoiding this team.
Yeah, the Magic, they don't play again till Wednesday, and they're going to be very shorthanded for this game. If Beal sits, Porzingis could smash in this spot.
And look, just based on how many suspensions we just got, like as we're recording this, what just happened like 2 hours ago?
Yeah,
Beal's gonna be out. Like
I would be shocked if he plays.
I'd be like, I would even maybe like I could maybe even see Porzingis just getting a random rest day for this one too now.
Yeah, if that happens, we would have a ton of interest in Kuzma. So I think obviously you got to pay attention to the news here. Washington, they play on the first, they play on Sunday. So, it's a little bit different. Like the Magic, they don't play until I think Wednesday. So they're a little bit different situations. But yeah, I think I'm with you though. I think that if everyone plays, if Beal, Kuzma, and Porzingis play, I probably don't play a lot of Washington. But if Beal sits, I have interest in Porzingis. If Porzingis sits, I have a ton of interest in Kuzma. And then we'd start talking about like value plays like Morris and Denny. These guys would be very interesting if we start getting a ton of people ruled out because, I mean, the Magic are already bad defensively. They're going to be playing with some G Leaguers. So,
yeah, I think it makes like if like say Beal is the only one we get out, but every player you add to the out list, then obviously this increases that and it becomes less sneaky and more optimal. But I think Jordan Goodwin is going to be a very interesting tournament play. Maybe not with DeLon Wright back and playing some minutes. That does worry me a little bit, but heck, maybe he doesn't even play for this one either. But Wright or Goodwin, if they happen to step into the starting lineup, if we see some injury stuff here, I think become pretty interesting.
On the Magic side, I mean, they're without a ton of people in this game. I'm not counting, but there's a lot. So, I mean, Paulo, Franz Wagner, and Fultz are like your three main pieces that are still going to be playing in this one. And I'm assuming that like Boyle, and he's just going to play a ton of minutes at the 5 here. So, I mean, he's interesting. Schofield is going to have to play minutes in this game because of everyone being out. Terrence Ross. I mean, this is even a spot like Kevon Harris might play. Because I think they said Harris is suspended Wednesday instead of Friday. So
is Franz Wagner and Admiral Schofield.
Yeah, so like they had to have enough players to play this game, obviously. But what are your thoughts here on Orlando? Very, very shorthanded against Washington.
I think the guys like Wagner and Schofield are extra interesting just because they could probably just play a ton of minutes, assuming, well, they're not playing next game. So might as well just run them out there. Having said that, on DraftKings specifically, I think Mo Bamba's like borderline lock button territory for me. Like that's nearly 150 of 150 lineups if I was doing that over there. Sorry, not Bamba, Bull.
Yeah, I was going to say Bamba's out too.
Apologies, I meant Bull. With Bamba out and with Carter Jr. out, Bull at $4,800 on DraftKings is just way too cheap. He's $6,500 on FanDuel. And like I still think he's in play over there, but at $4,800 on DraftKings, I think he's basically a lock button play.
Wait, there's a football game? Someone says they have an NFL sweat going on in YouTube. I didn't realize there's a football game tonight. Oh, I'm joking, kind of. I mean, I knew there was a football game, but I definitely wasn't going to watch it. That's for sure. Phoenix at Toronto is where we go next.
I would have a sweat going if I played Dalton Schultz instead of Brett Mayer, but because I didn't, no sweat.
No sweat. I played none of those guys because I didn't play. Phoenix at Toronto, 225.5 total. The Raptors are a 2.5-point favorite. As far as the injury report in this game, Toronto's on a back-to-back, and then Phoenix is without Devin Booker, Cam Johnson, Cameron Payne, and Shamet. Toronto, I think, like, we already kind of got news that Van Vliet might not play. I mean, he didn't play the game on Thursday. I doubt Precious comes back. He's been out for a while now. So I think the biggest thing here that we're watching on the Toronto side is if Van Vliet plays or not. But talk to me. What do you like here for Phoenix?
On the Phoenix side of things, Chris Paul. I'm interested in Chris Paul at 7,900. I'm interested in DeAndre Ayton at 75. If I was running out a lot of lineups, I'd want to get some Bridges in there. I think, like, I'm interested in this whole team. I think Craig is fine. If Landale's in the starting lineup, I think he's fine. If you're running out a ton of lineups, I think you include Dwayne Washington Jr. in the pool. But like, I think this whole team's in play.
Yeah, I mean, I have a ton of interest in Ayton. I keep talking about how he performs better with Booker off the floor. He had a great bounce back game the other night, 47 fantasy points against Washington. Love this spot for him. Chris Paul, I still can't play Chris Paul at 7,900. He sees a decrease with Booker off the floor, so he's probably my least favorite play of Phoenix. But I mean, some tournament shots on like a Craig or a Bridges, I don't hate that. getting down to like the bench with like Okaji and these guys, I mean, the minutes are just kind of all over the place. Like Washington had an insane game. Was it Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday? And then like came back the next night and played 17 minutes. So I don't think you could trust anything about these bench guys, but ton of interest here in Ayton, and then don't mind the tournament shots on like a guy like Bridges. The Toronto side, I mean, it all kind of depends on whether or not Van Vliet plays or not. You know, if he's out, they're coming off of a loss against Memphis. Scotty Barnes had a really good game last night. Gary Trent had, I think, 20 actual points in that game. OG played 35 minutes, and Flynn played 30 minutes with Van Vliet out. What are your thoughts here on Toronto?
I think not only do we need to keep an eye on Fred Van Vliet, but we also need to keep an eye on Gary Trent Jr. because it's just because this is a back-to-back, or sorry, not Gary Trent Jr. I guess him too, because he's been missing a lot of games with injury this season. But with this being a back-to-back, Scotty Barnes left the game and then came back because of an injury last game. If he happened to sit on the second half of this back-to-back as well, Flynn would be that second player on top of Bol that I would just look to play in every single one of my lineups. But just kind of as it stands right now, if everybody's in, I don't think I really have any interest in anyone outside of Van Vliet. But if Van Vliet's out, run, and I mean, of course, Siakam in tournaments. But if Van Vliet's out, you can run out this whole team. If Van Vliet and Barnes are out, then the Trent, Anunoby, Siakams, Flynn's just become among the best plays on the slate.
All right, we got the Lakers heading into Atlanta to take on the Hawks. This game is currently at a 233.5 total. The Hawks are a 7.5 some places favorite here. On the Atlanta side, Capella is out. Hunter is questionable. Trae Young is probable. On the Lakers side, Anthony Davis remains out. LeBron is questionable with the ankle soreness, and that's really it for them injury-wise. So we'll start here with the Lakers side. What do you like here for LA?
If LeBron plays, I would get a little bit of him, but other than that, nothing. If LeBron is out, and maybe a little Thomas Bryant in tournaments. If LeBron's out, then fire up Westbrook, Schroeder, maybe even a little Lonnie Walker.
Yeah, I kind of like Westbrook in this game if LeBron plays. I think he has triple-double upside with LeBron on the floor. Kind of just opens things up for him a little bit when they play together. So I don't hate Westbrook if LeBron plays. Thomas Bryant's minutes are all over the place. I know he's had some foul trouble. Atlanta does tend to play big. Capella being out could potentially help that. But, yeah, I don't mind Lonnie Walker coming off of a terrible game against Miami. Just absolute terrible game. Burned a ton of people. That's really it. And then on the Atlanta side of this game, with Trae Young probable, 9,900. He's obviously someone you can take a shot on in this matchup. I think DeJounte 89 is just too expensive with Trae Young back. What are your thoughts on the Hawks?
Yeah, with Young and Murray both playing, I don't think I really want to get to either one of these guys. Like if I was running 150 lineups, don't get me wrong, I would definitely be including both of them in my pool. What I like about Murray, if you're running a ton of lineups, is he's kind of always a guy that you can get for 5% or less ownership when Young's in the lineup. And he does have big steal and block upside. So he's someone I like getting if I'm MMEing. But outside of that, it's really just John Collins on DraftKings for me, Onyeka Okongwu on DraftKings. And that's mostly going to be it for me. Those guys have great prices over there. They're priced up on FanDuel, so I don't know how much I'm going to get to them. On FanDuel, I probably won't play a Hawk, but on DraftKings, I do like Collins and Okongwu.
Yeah, Collins and Trae Young would be my main targets here. Seeing John Collins play 34 minutes on the second end of a back-to-back, I'm not concerned anymore about minutes for him. And he's just too cheap at 5,700, especially in a matchup where he should play 30 to 35 minutes. So, like John Collins, love that call. Over 30 fantasy points in 3 straight games. So, totally forgot to mention him. Detroit at Chicago. It's out. 229.5 total here. The Bulls an 8-point favorites. Injury report here. Bagley's questionable. Cunningham remains out. And then on the Chicago side, Ball remains out. Derek Jones Jr. is questionable. Kobe White and Patrick Williams are questionable, which on the surface might not sound like a lot, but Patrick Williams is a guy that plays 35 plus minutes a night. So it would be a huge thing if he's out. So let's start with Detroit. What do you like here for the Pistons?
It's been so wildly hard to find value on FanDuel lately. They're just so ready to price things up. As it stands right now, with Killian Hayes ruled out for this one, I love Alec Burks, $5,300 Alec Burks over on FanDuel, $4,400 on DraftKings. Another one of these top plays of the slate. As it stands right now, without knowing the Toronto news, Burks and Bull are going to be the two first players I'd be putting into my lineup over there on DraftKings. Jaden Ivey is looking like a strong play. Jalen Duren's looking like a strong play. And then I think that would really be it for me. Most of those guys over on DraftKings, and then Burks on FanDuel. I wouldn't want to play Duren on DraftKings or on FanDuel. Sorry, we're 6,100.
Yeah, 54 to 61, big difference. Just kind of just doing his thing every night. He has double upside. He's rebounding the basketball really well. I mean, they're definitely going to need his size. It's a tough matchup against Vooch, but he's 5,400, getting plenty of minutes every night. So I like that call. Outside of that, I mean, you don't want to get 50 fantasy points from Alec Burks again.
That's another guy that on DraftKings just hit that lock button no matter how many lineups you're playing.
Yeah, the pricing on these guys are just weird. And FanDuel, you mentioned FanDuel, their football product has been a lot tougher, salary cap lately as well. So I like the difference. That's, one of the reasons I play on both sites. On the Chicago side, I mean, it's a fantastic matchup against Detroit. Detroit has been able to keep games close this year. They're not a great defensive team. DeMar DeRozan is coming off of a monster game the other night against the Bucks, where him and Giannis just went back and forth. What do you like here for Chicago?
DeRozan and Levine. If I'm playing a ton of Detroit players, I'm going to want to run it back with them. On DK, I like Vucevic's price tag. On FanDuel, I mean, yeah, just because the difference isn't that big and so many guys are priced up on FanDuel, I guess I do like Vucevic over there as well. If we happen to get Dosunmu and Patrick Williams out, like I mentioned with these FanDuel price ups, I don't know how much Dosunmu and Caruso I want to get to at almost 5K, but over on DraftKings where Dosunmu's 4-1, Caruso's 3-9, all of a sudden those two guys become a lot more interesting for values if those two are out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, looking at this matchup, I think Vooch could have a big game. It's just his ceiling seems to be capped most nights, but I mean, this is a matchup where he should dominate. So if he got a few extra shots in this game, if he ends up at the 16 shot attempt mark instead of the 12, getting a couple extra buckets in this matchup would be great. So Vooch is definitely on my list today. Zach LaVine, he's going to have these blow-up games every once in a while, but, I mean, I'm probably paying up and playing DeRozan most of the time. He's just been way more consistent. If Patrick Williams sits in this game, it becomes really interesting to see who they run out there for a bunch of minutes, especially if Jones Jr. is out again. So, I mean, this might be a spot where you take some shots on an AU, Kobe White, Caruso, depending on who's in and out of those guys, if Patrick Williams sits.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. And I mean, if you do think this one is going to be a blowout, I think there's crazier things you can do today than roll out a little Andre Drummond.
Minnesota at Milwaukee, 229.5 total here. The Bucks, a 5.5 point favorite. Drew Holiday is doubtful. Chris Middleton is out. On the Minnesota side, Anderson is questionable. McLaughlin, Prince, and Karl-Anthony Towns remains out. So we'll start here with Minnesota. What do you like here for the Timberwolves?
If in lineups that I'm playing Giannis, I will be wanting to get to some Anthony Edwards, wanting to get to some D'Angelo Russell, little Rudy Gobert. Outside of that, when I'm not playing Giannis in a lineup that I don't think I'd be wanting to get to any Minnesota guys, but kind of as it stands right now, my favorites, I think, just for the price, is D'Angelo Russell with Anthony Edwards kind of right close behind him.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't mind the price on Russell. I think Edwards still has the highest ceiling right now on this team. I think Gobert could have a really solid game in this matchup. I don't have a ton of interest in Minnesota. I mean, I have a ton of interest in Giannis on the other side, so maybe I end up on Minnesota because of that. But with Middleton and Drew likely out as well, it's hard not to have interest in Giannis in this matchup. I mean, you could take shots on like Bobby Portis. I think you could take some shots on like a Grayson Allen at 4,300. Javon Carter was really popular the other night and busted. Really busted. I think he had like 7 or 8 fantasy points. It was not good. I mean, that was like a really close competitive game, and like the minutes were still kind of spread out. So I think Giannis is really the only guy you can trust in Milwaukee right now.
Giannis to me is like if I'm doing core plays on over on RotoGrinders lineup HQ, Giannis, Bol, and Alec Burks are the first 3 guys tagged for me. With the amount of value we have over on DK, I feel like he's going to be a bit of a must without Drew Holiday, without Chris Middleton. You brought up Rudy Gobert potentially having a good game in this matchup. Somebody I think that I could have a really good game in this matchup is Brook Lopez. Probably going to see big minutes because of Gobert being on the court. He's a big body that he should be able to contend with defensively and hopefully pick up some blocks. And then on the offensive end, Rudy's not going to want to go out and guard Lopez at the 3-point line. And so I think we could end up seeing a lot of Gobert helping on Giannis in the key and Lopez hitting a bunch of wide open threes. So Carter and Allen are interesting for value. Giannis is probably the top pay up on the slate. And Brook Lopez, I think, is a very interesting tournament option.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't hate the Brook Lopez call. 6,100. He's had some, 40-plus point games this season. He has the upside. I don't love the matchup for him against Gobert, but, I mean, we have a lot of center plays today, too. I don't know if I get the Lopez, but I don't hate the call. Philadelphia at New Orleans taking on the Pelicans. 226.5 total here. The Pelicans are a 2-point favorite. Philadelphia side, Maxey is probable. So, I mean, that's a good sign for Philadelphia. And then on the New Orleans side, Brandon Ingram is listed as out. Herb Jones is questionable. Larry Nance is doubtful. And Little remains out as well. We'll go Philly first. I mean, it's been a while since Maxey's played. I would assume that with a fractured foot, he's going to be on a very strong minutes limit here at 7,500. But I think it's enough where, like, I don't think you could play Melton. It should potentially affect, like, Tobias. Like, you can still take shots on Harden and Embiid in tournaments. But, I mean, all the secondary pieces I think I'm going to be out on here for Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm kind of just going to be on a wait and see to see how Maxey back in the lineup is going to affect these guys. Like James Harden and Joel Embiid, always in play for tournaments. But outside of them, I don't want to get to anyone.
On the New Orleans side, I mean, Zion had a game the other night. What did he score? The last like 13 points or something for New Orleans. There was a quote that like CJ McCollum was like, how did you play the last part of this game? And he's like, I just stepped back and we got the ball to Zion and let him do his thing. So what are your thoughts here on the Pelicans?
I'm not really down to just plug in Zion and let him do his thing because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't typically consider like individual matchups that often into my lineups, but all of Zion's damage is done in the key, and I don't know how much of that damage he's going to be able to do against Embiid.
I was just saying I was locking him in. I said that's what CJ McCollum said after.
Yeah. I was just kind of using play on words.
No, you're good. Like, I mean, CJ McCollum's 87. I don't want to pay that price for him. Valanciunas, if you want to pivot off Zion, I think Valanciunas would be the pivot. Trey Murphy's been playing really well. He's 5,200, highest price tag he's been in a while. But with Nance not expected to play, I mean, him and Najee Marshall should still play a decent amount of minutes, assuming that Herb Jones doesn't play. I don't love the matchup, but I mean, this is a tournament game. You circle this game, there's a lot of potential defense played in this game. I mean, Philadelphia is second and New Orleans is sixth in defensive rating. But you just circle this game and say this game is going to be competitive. Maybe I do a couple tournament stacks, and that's how you build this game out.
Jonas Valanciunas is either going to he's going to foul out in like 18 minutes, or he's going to have 60 fantasy points.
Yeah.
There's no in between. It's one of those two.
I mean, that's most nights with him, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not saying much.
Let me have my hot take. Let me have it.
All right, you got it. You got it. I agree with you. Miami at Denver, 224 total in this game. The Nuggets are a 4.5-point favorites on the Miami side. Jimmy Butler is probable. Dedmon remains out. Haslam is questionable. Caleb Martin is questionable. And Yurt 7 remains out. On the Denver side, Bruce Brown is questionable. Aaron Gordon is questionable. Jeff Green is out, and Jamal Murray is questionable. So we'll go Miami first. Jimmy Butler coming back. I can't pay $9K for Hero with Butler being back. Denver's one of the worst teams guarding the perimeter. I mean, this is a game where we could see Hero shoot 10+ threes. Maybe I look at like a prop kind of scenario for him, but I don't think I can pay $9K for him. Even Bam at 8,500, I could see him having a good game here, but his price tag is up there as well.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler on DraftKings at 92 is very in play. Tyler Herro on FanDuel at 7,900 is very in play. He's a strong play over there, I think. And then if Caleb Martin is out, I would have a little interest in like a Max Strus or Victor Oladipo if I was playing a ton of lineups. But other than that, I'm not on this team.
I'm not on this game. I mean, Jokic can have like a blow-up game at any point, and he's been fantastic. If Jamal Murray sits and Aaron Gordon is out, I mean, I could take some shots on Michael Porter Jr. at 6,100. But overall, I mean, I think this game kind of stinks. I don't think there's going to be a ton of like fast-paced play in this game. Jokic is so expensive. I struggle getting a ton of exposure to, two teams that are in the bottom 15 in pace. And I mean, both of these teams can play, decent defense. Denver at times. Denver is a team that you can definitely target. But yeah, I mean, I struggle here with Denver. What are your thoughts?
If we get no Murray and no Bruce Brown, Bones Highland is one of the top tournament plays on the slate. Nikola Jokic is always in play, but it's a very difficult matchup. He's been playing really well lately, but still, it's a very difficult matchup. And so if I'm running a lot of lineups, yeah, you obviously include Jokic. But other than that, it's just Bones if Bruce Brown and Jamal Murray are out.
My headphones are playing another episode of the podcast in my ear, so we're just gonna move on. You could tell that it's Thursday night. It's Friday because it's been a long week. Portland at Golden State taking on the Warriors. This game has a 231.5 total, and the Trailblazers are 2.5-point favorites. On the Golden State side, Curry remains out. DiVincenzo and Green are probable. JaMychal Green and Iggy and Wiggins are out. And then on the Portland side, Johnson is out, Little is out, and Peyton and Winslow are out. So we'll start here with Portland. What are your thoughts here on the Trailblazers?
Golden State at home is a much better defensive team than they are on the road. Having said that, I still want to get to a little Dame, little Jeremy Grant. Yusuf Nurkic, I don't think it'd be somebody. I don't think this is the matchup for him. I mean, maybe if for some reason, obviously he's probable right now, so we're not expecting it, but if Draymond were to sit for some reason, I think that would actually put Nurkic more in play because it would give Looney more minutes. But for now, as it stands, I think it's mostly just going to be Dame and Jeremy Grant for me as the main guys I'm interested in. If I was running a ton of lineups, maybe you include a little Anthony Simons, but that's going to be it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lillard is someone that could have a big game here, and Simons is starting to get to that price point. I'm greedy. I want to see him under 6K before I start playing him, but I think Lillard's in a prime spot to have a big game here today, so a ton of interest in him. Outside of that, I mean, if Nurkic is going to play a ton of minutes again, he has to be in your tournament pool. He got 36 minutes against Charlotte the other night. If they give him 30 minutes against Golden State, he's someone that can go for like 45 plus fantasy points. So just in the conversation for me. Josh Hart's playing a lot of minutes. He's 5,800. I don't know what his price is on Yahoo or FanDuel, but he's been playing a lot of minutes recently as well. On the Golden State,
he's definitely in play on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's up over 6. I don't think I want to get to him there, but on DK, he's definitely in play.
Yeah, that's a much tougher price tag to get to him for sure. Golden State side of this game, I mean, Klay Thompson's been my target here recently for them. He's shooting a ton. I've been fading Jordan Poole. I know he has like 50 plus point ceiling, but he's just not doing anything else. He's scoring. He's not getting a ton of assists or rebounds or anything. So
I would just rather it over a ton.
What's that?
He's been turning it over a ton as well.
Yeah, I mean, his usage is insane. It's like 38% or something like that recently. But I mean, he's just not doing anything else. I played Ty Jerome the other night. I'm probably not going back to the well on him. Got his ceiling game the other night. That was fantastic. What are your thoughts here on the Warriors?
Poole and Thompson. They both have super high ceilings. It's Thompson on DraftKings where he's 7,100. Jordan Poole where he's 7,500 on FanDuel. Only $100 more expensive than Klay Thompson, and Thompson's not getting that 3-point bonus. I'd rather play Poole on FanDuel, and I'd rather play Thompson on DraftKings, and I think both of them are very strong plays. DiVincenzo, that price I think is just getting a little bit too high for me, and I don't really think this is going to be a team I'm looking to go to for value today.
All right, we finished it out with this is my favorite game. I feel like this is going to be a lot of people's favorite game. It's Utah at Sacramento. It's a 239.5 total. The Kings are a 3.5 point favorite. Lyles is questionable, and that's really it as far as the injury report of this game. You get two pretty full strength teams and a game that just offers so much potential upside. I mean, Utah and Sacramento, they both play top 13 in pace. Defensively, they're both in the bottom 10. Like, TJ, this game just screams ceiling.
Does it ever? And so, I mean, hey, you plug in Bol, Alec Burks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, wait for some of that injury news we talked about, and then everywhere else in your lineup, you just fill in with spots of this game, and you're going to be feeling pretty good. On the Utah side of things, Markkanen and Clarkson's price are getting up there, but they still have ceilings. They're both great players. Kelly Olynyk at 5,300, I think, is probably going to be my favorite. But I mean, Mike Conley he's in play. Malik Beasley, if you're running 150, is in play. Colin Sexton, if you're running 150, is in play. Just because of the pace of this game and the lack of defense in it. But I mean, the main targets are going to be Markkanen, Clarkson, and Olynyk for me, and then sprinkling in a little bit of Vanderbilt and Conley.
I mean, this game as a whole, I'm going to stack a ton. I'm going to play a ton of Markkanen in this game. I'm going to play. I mean, I think even like someone like Kelly Olynyk at 5,300 is someone you could take some shots on. But Markkanen's my favorite play from the Utah side. I mean, Mike Conley's been playing minutes at 5,100. I don't hate it, but I love this game, man. I mean, you can say a name from this game. I'm all right. I'm in. That's how I kind of look at this one. So Sacramento, Fox, Sabonis. Like the Sabonis price tag should keep his ownership down. This guy has been absolutely smashing recently and draws a matchup against Kelly Olynyk and Kessler, whoever they run out there. Like this should be a spot Sabonis goes bonkers. I prefer Sabonis over Fox, but in tournaments, I don't hate either one of them. Malik Monk at 5,100. This dude's playing some minutes and he has some upside. Someone that, again, in this matchup, I think is in play. Anything else here from this game?
Love Malik Monk. I think that's a phenomenal call. He's very interesting for tournaments. Fox is a great tournament play. Sabonis is a phenomenal tournament play. It was November the last time he had under 40 fantasy points in a basketball game. And so, yeah, he's just been absolutely smashing. Fox and Sabonis are the main two. Herder and Monk, I think, are very interesting tournament plays.
Anything else from this one?
Monk more than Herder, but yeah.
All right, morning grind game. We're going to use DraftKings pricing and scoring. We flew through this one in typical last podcast of the year fashion. Favorite play under 5K to go 7X. Who do you got today?
Alec Burks.
I like it. I'm going to go Boyle. Just no Mo Bamba, no Wendell Carter Jr., no Mo Wagner. This guy plays 30 minutes in this game, and he has a ton of talent. I think he's one of the top value plays on the slate.
For those who weren't paying attention at the beginning, like if I were running 150 lineups on DraftKings, Bull and Alec Burks would both be in 150 of them.
There you go. Over 8K to go under 5X. Who's your bust today?
Bust today, I'm going to go with Pascal Siakam.
You took mine. We're on the same page. I'm just a little off of him today.
Can I call who your second is going to be?
Who do you think it's going to be?
You're going to pick DeJounte Murray.
I'm not. I love that call, but I'm going bold here. I'm going to go Jokic at 11-8 against Miami. So
I thought you were going DeJounte or Hero.
Yeah, I do like both of those. Like Hero is just way too expensive with Butler back, so I love that call. Favorite 6X play on the slate. Who do you got today?
Let's go with, you know what? Just for fun, I kind of want to go with Malik Monk. It's fine. Fresh in the brain, you know?
I mean, I'm going to that same game. I'm going Markkanen. I love this spot for him. I think he goes for 50 plus. He's been absolutely fantastic recently. His triple-double or double-double upside, not triple-double upside, but love this spot for Markkanen. Let's get weird GPP play of the day. Who do you think is going to be under 10% that crushes on this slate?
It's so hard to know ownership the day before. Like, how owned do you think Franz Wagner is going to be?
Very popular.
Very popular.
Because of how many people are out, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So I'm looking at maybe going to this New Orleans Pelicans game and saying CJ McCollum.
I like it. I'm actually going to go to Orlando. I don't think this guy's going to be popular, but I could be wrong. But give me Kevin Harris. I don't think he's played more than 20 minutes in a game in his NBA career. I think maybe one or two. So give me Harris. Give me the 22 fantasy points he scores. Hopefully he's low owned. His ceiling is like 24 points, but we'll take it. Magic, I mean, they're gosh, was it 8 guys out? I said I was going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys out for the Magic tonight. So, any bets? Anything standing out to you here night before?
Nope, not really in particular. I think this is going to be a very high scoring slate. We're going to want to be shooting for ceiling on this one. Don't be afraid of playing some chalk. I think it's going to be good chalk. Just find a couple pieces in your lineup to get a little different with.
It's not up yet, but I am going to be using the Sabonis rebounding and point prop a lot today. It's going to be too low. So that's all I'm going to say. That's one that I'm going to be looking at quite a bit. But yeah, that's really it. That's it for 2022. It's been a fantastic year. Hope everyone has enjoyed the podcast. If there's anything you'd like to see on the podcast next year, always feel free to reach out to me. Again, thanks for hanging out in YouTube chats. Dave, Derek, Big Hurt. I mean, there's a lot of people. Richie, I'm missing people in YouTube chat today, but appreciate everyone. We will see you all again on Monday. Good luck in NFL. Good luck in NBA. Have a great weekend.